Good morning from paradise. My name is Crypto Amaru. I am pleased to have the CEO and founder of a project that we've been involved with for a long time. Full disclosure, we've invested into their private sale through the Crypto Paradise DAO. So I want to get that disclosure out of the way. But we have Matthew here from Me3. Great to have you back, man. We're going to have about a 20-minute session here. Ask you some questions about the market. Ask you a question about the project, the launch plan. So let's dig right into it. How have you been, and how are you getting through these bearish periods as a builder?
Well, firstly, great to be on your show. I look out for your show every week. I see you guys have been kicking ass, going from strength to strength every week. So it's great to be on here for a second time. In terms of how we've been performing as a project in more challenging times, I really saw the drop off just after Christmas. There was quite a lot of activity, ecosystem activity into Christmas, but going into the new year, things started to drop off quite significantly. I personally thought we'd have the start of a big altcoin rally in February, and obviously that has not happened, although I remain still confident that we will see an altcoin rally this year. But so far I've been wrong with my prediction of February. I would say short-term pain, long-term gain. In the short term, obviously Trump with the tariffs, which seem to be being pulled back, has affects overall general sentiment in the market. And this just slows down conversations. I wouldn't say it feels like ultra bearish, but just everything is that little bit slower. It doesn't quite have that, intense energy that we have when it's that, bullish market, which is great to wake up into the morning when you've got like 50 Telegram messages and, you have that kind of, so it's definitely, I would say, return to a more like realistic level of communication. But medium to long term, with all the regulation coming through, particularly in the US actually, which is positive for cryptography and blockchain, I'm actually very bullish in the medium to long term.
I think your feeling echoes the sentiment of many market participants, particularly the point you made around February was the expectation, I think, of an uptrend or start of an alt season, because Bitcoin had run to all-time highs, etc. Trump had won, blah blah blah, and then of course the opposite happened. And that's been, I think, the biggest challenge, at least for me, like that expectations not, or reality not meeting those expectations. But good for you guys, powering through, still active as ever, building out the project. I want to shift gears a little bit. So tell us about just general overview of Me3. What you guys are building, problems you're solving, and then we can talk about a bit about the launch plan as well.
Sure, absolutely. So obviously we launched our first mainnet release in October, which was Gotcha Galaxy. Got 150,000 users on board, 75 ecosystem partners. During this journey, we got a lot of feedback from our ecosystem partners that they loved the product we built, but they really wanted it inside their own ecosystem. So we have been building, and I don't like to say AI agents because it's a bit cliche, but we've been building an AI-powered engagement platform to come on the top of Gotcha Galaxy, and we're hoping to launch this at the end of May or early June, and this is going to go directly into our ecosystem partners platform, and it's going to be omni-channel, so it's not just going to go into their platform, but it will also work in like Discord, TikTok, YouTube, and so forth.
No, wonderful. Yeah, I always like to hear when a founder's able to take feedback from existing partners or clients or users, and then use that feedback to develop a product that is going to have greater product market fit. At the end of the day, you want engaged and retained users, and so you're building products that people want to use. So that's great. So tell us a little bit about, so Gotcha Galaxy is kind of this game, right? And then you're building this AI engagement platform sort of on top. Dig into the details a little bit more so I can just understand that at a high level.
Sure. So obviously Gotcha Galaxy was a quest reward platform. We had a lot of gamified rewards where they would complete so 50 customized social quests, get the key to play some of our gotcha games and then get either our native rewards or our partners' rewards. So that was the original launch, and we did very well. But then, some of our partners wanted to request analytical data. They wanted to request like activity of the users. There was a lot of different data points that they were requesting from us, which we couldn't give them in the first iteration of Gotcha Galaxy. And then what we've taken is that feedback from our partners and that model where they actually want us to go into their platform rather than drive traffic into our gaming hub and complete social quests within their actual it could be a game, it could be any type of platform. We're agnostic, and give them the data. The key to what they're really looking for is the data on existing and new users coming in. That's the crucial piece.
Yeah, so to me, just at a high level, it feels like you built a platform to sort of supercharge engagement, supercharge user acquisition. This, to me, is a product that almost every project in Web3 could benefit from.
Absolutely.
Right? To me, like a very wide potential market. I mean, I don't want to say it's exactly like a Zili or the Galaxy product that exists in Web3 already, but it seems like sort of an evolution of that with AI integrations. Is that a fair way to describe it, or is it a little different?
Yeah, no, I think you're right on the nose there, Ian. So Zili and Galaxy, Taskon, they are the big daddies in our space. They're much more mass market. I don't like to like put down our competition, but we're going after different markets. They're basically for huge, numbers of users to onboard into your platform for whatever reason that would be of benefit. We're much more of a organic funnel, and in terms of like onboarding users, we'll have analytical data that none of our competitors will have out there because they don't have that kind of deep level of analytical data. It's just not their business model, and it will be ours.
So sort of like a higher quality, more targeted, more impactful,
Correct.
quest sort of product. Okay. And tell us how first how the token, the Me3 token, is integrated and related to the product, and then also follow-up question to that would be, how do you guys as a business generate revenue?
Okay, it's a really good question. I'll do the revenue question first.
Sure. Yeah.
And then I'm like hardwired. So at the moment, our revenue models, on the B2B basis with new partners coming to our gaming hub from the end of May, we're going to be charging them a monthly rate. And then on the B2C side, they can complete a social quest, but if they don't want to complete a social quest, they can just buy the key directly, or they can buy a monthly pass, a bit like Netflix, and get a high number of keys to use. And then the tier status, they can buy their way up with the tier status from bronze, silver, gold, platinum, a bit like Marriott, and this gives them access to better prizes and mystery prizes and so forth. Obviously, going in to our partners' ecosystems is somewhat of a different revenue model because we're more B2B focused rather than B2B and B2C. So really the two critical areas of revenue will, one, obviously be around the data, the analytical data that we can provide to our partners from our users using the Quest reward. And then there will be some AI. I don't like to say AI agents because everyone's talking about it and it's a bit of a, but obviously we will have certain I say bots rather than agents, walking them through the customer experience, the Quest reward experience, completing the quests, playing the game, and also potentially doing upgrades on things like weapons and whatever. And we would also charge for that separately. So this is going to be a new model for us, and it's only going to be once we complete that model, then we can really, look to see if we can monetize in terms of what we perceived I've learned this the hard way. It's only once you launch, then you know what works and doesn't. But that's what we believe with the upgraded platform. In terms of the tokenomics currently, obviously users can complete these quests, but to get better tiered status, you can use the Me3 token to get higher levels of status, so you can increase your tier status for better access of prizes. And for partners who are using our building, they can buy the buildings using the Me3 token. But where we really see the token user case is, and I hate to keep going back to it, is around this data and the data access. And we will be charging our partners Me3 tokens for this data access. And we think this is going to be the big money spinner for us that we're looking for.
Yeah, very nice. I mean, I think you hit the nail on the head in saying that you don't really know what's going to work from a business standpoint and revenue standpoint until that product is out there. So I'm glad you mentioned that. But I'm also glad you're saying that there's sort of these almost two streams of potential revenue, right? There's the B2C side, which is the users who are going to be using Gacha Galaxy and people completing quests, so on and so forth. They're also integral to the token utilities, I understand it. But then also the B2B side, the clients who are the projects, for example, who are using the product itself, that's a source of revenue, also utility for the token. So you're kind of de-risked, I guess, to some degree, because maybe if one source doesn't quite pan out, you got the other one. So I'm glad you guys are thinking in terms of revenue and building a real business. I've done a lot of content recently here on Crypto Paradise about my theory, anyway, that there's going to be a flight to quality coming out of this crash that we've just had. Eventually, this downtrend will end and we'll start moving to an uptrend. I don't know, and I don't frankly think that people are going to rush back into memes in the early phase of an uptrend. I think they will be looking for more fundamentally sound, business-based projects like a Me3. What's your take on that? Do you think do you think it's going to be memes again, or do you think there's going to be a place for utility plays in this upcoming part of the bull run?
So I've been wrong, because I thought we were going to have this big sing-song altcoin rally in February, and it's not.
We were all wrong. Don't worry about it.
And actually, one of the things that really even made me even more convinced, if you look at all the data from, I'm not going to mention their platform, but anyway, it starts with a P, ends with an N, but that platform's volume has declined drastically. So the amount of projects going on that platform has gone, I think it was 20,000 a day to less than 200. So I think the general interest in those platforms, at least in the immediacy, is almost done now. And I think we will see a transition, like you were alluding to, into real, how do I say it without real projects that have a token utility, that have a business model, that have ecosystem partners that are relevant. I would like to see Ethereum have some kind of recovery. I think that will help the altcoin rally market if Ethereum is also able to recover with the market. I think that will be very supportive.
I mean, I think we absolutely need Ethereum to rally before altcoins take off. Remember, most altcoins are tied to Ethereum and the liquidity pools. Whether you're on an L1 like Ethereum itself or any L2 that's EVM compatible, you're going to be tied to the Ethereum token in some way. But also just the fact that, until ETH starts to go on an uptrend and hit certain levels, exciting levels again, 2,500, 3,000, hopefully over 4,000 and well beyond previous all-time high, you need that sort of recovery and that bullish momentum to then trickle into the alts. So I think ETH is critical. I mean, we're seeing BNB outperform, and I think you guys are a BNB based token. Is that right?
Yes, that's correct.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that, because since CZ's got out of prison, he's he's come out guns ablaze, pushing the Binance ecosystem again. And I just think to myself, God, I wish Vitalik had about 10% of CZ's personality somewhere in him, but I guess that's just not how it works. So I think we need ETH to run. BNB's also here doing well, but it's going to come down to ETH for alt season to take off, I'm afraid, 100%. And it's just been underperforming.
That's correct.
No,
fingers crossed.
You're a builder. I'm a builder. you got to be, and I'm also an investor, as are you. You got to be patient, I think, to be successful in either of those areas. And man, this bearish period here has really been testing people's patience. So what have you done, Matthew? Anything, coping mechanisms you've managed to sort of work through as we get through these bearish periods? How do you get through it?
Drinking.
Wrong for that on Crypto Paradise.
I'd say, honestly, it's really only been like since the new year. Up until like Christmas, things were like still. I know things had pulled back a bit, but there was still a hive of activity. So it's only really been the last 3 months, and there's been events that I've still been attending. So I was at Hong Kong in the Consensus. There's an event in Bangkok next week, Southeast Asian Blockchain Week. There's Token 49 in Dubai. So I'll be keeping busy at events still. And the overall, I would say, the kind of overall narrative is that there is going to be a rally, and that 2025 is still going to be a positive year. So I know it feels very bearish now, and there's days where it can be frustrating, but I still feel that we will get a jolt in the market. I hope before the summer rather than after the summer. That would be great, to have a kind of no rally, or at least relief rally, and then we hit the summer, and then you get that 3-month crypto summer where things die down. That would be quite frustrating. But anyway, I remain positive, and I'm keeping active at the events as well.
I think that's key, right? Got to stay active, got to stay building. For me, I almost use the bearishness to push a little bit harder, because if you think about when times are really bullish, you're on easy street. It's I mean, I know everyone does work a lot in the bull run, but now is when you plant those seeds, right? Make those connections, go to the conferences, grow the community, build the product, right? You plant those seeds to then harvest them when the bull run hits. So you got to stay active, got to stay busy. So I'm glad to hear you guys are doing that. All right, one or two final questions here before we jump off. So it's been a long journey. We've been working with you guys for, I don't know, a year, 2 years. I don't know. It's been awesome experience, but I feel like the launch is imminent, hopefully, right? Depending on the market. So tell us about the launch plans, any exchanges you can mention, any launch pads you can mention. What's the launch plan look like? All right, we are back with Matthew, the CEO of Me3. We got cut off last time for technical difficulties, but we were just segueing into the exciting portion of the interview where we're talking about the launch of the token. I know it's been in the works for some time now. The market delayed you, launch pads delayed, exchanges, but where are we today with the launch plan?
Absolutely, and just in terms of your community, I know it's been a wait. You always want to list when market is in an upward trajectory. I'm really pleased to announce we've been approved by Gates this month. MXC's also been confirmed. We're just in the very, very final stages of due diligence and hopefully confirmation with one other tier 1 SECs. So we should be very well, serviced into TG. When is the TG date? I am very aware of our obligation as a project to provide exit liquidity for our token holders who obviously participated in previous rounds. Obviously, I want to do that when the market is in a more stable condition. I personally thought that was going to happen in February. I was wrong. I believe now, April, we will start to see a transition in the trajectory from down to up. And this is where we would be looking to start getting onto the TG and getting on that upward trajectory train. So we haven't set a date. You can see by the progression we've made with the quality of the sexes, and we expect to finally have a TG date announced shortly. And please stay tuned to that, and please stay tuned to our socials for announcements on other sex approvals.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Look, it's not easy being the founder of a project, in these conditions, particularly just crypto in general, because particularly the decision around TGE launch date, right, is probably one of the most significant decisions you'll make as a founder. And so, you want to take as much care as you can in that. I agree. Look, you don't want to launch into a downtrend. Nobody wins there, right? There will be no buyers of the token. There will only be sellers, and the price will just go down, down, down. You can recover from that, but it's not going to be easy. Much better to launch into an uptrend, obviously, or at least just a neutral sort of market.
Correct.
So, hopefully we get past this tariff FUD beginning in April here, and we start to see a reversal. And then, like you said, sometime in April would be a ripe moment to launch a token. So stay tuned.
Yep.
For the the announcement on the Me3 channels, and we will be there to support the launch when that happens. So, by the way, any launch pads any notable launch pads that you want to mention, or marketing plans around the launch, anything like that?
Yeah, so we've confirmed with DGen Pad, that's a umbrella launch pad of ChainGPT. Obviously, Trust Swap. We're going to be announcing one more launch pad. I can't name it yet because we haven't officially signed it. In terms of marketing agencies, again, until it's officially announced, I don't want to mention their name, but they've been one of the very few players in this space who've had successful launches with other projects recently, and they have come very well recommended by ecosystem partners. So we will be using this agency, and hopefully they can give us similar results to other projects they've launched.
God, glad to hear that. I mean, in crypto, my experience, marketing, I don't want to say 90%, because that's maybe an over-exaggeration, but it's over 50%, I would say, of the factors that determine a successful product, because you just have to get the awareness out there, right? People have to know about you before they can use the product, buy the token, or what have you.
Correct.
And so I'm glad you're talking to what sounds like a tier one marketing agency. You're going to be on some good pads.
Yeah.
In my opinion, we really like Trust Swap, DGen Pad as well, some of the others. So glad to hear that. All right, cool. Well, this will actually be connected and tied back to the first interview. So we're sort of, I think, able to wrap up here soon. But any final thoughts, Matthew, before we jump off?
Other than, obviously, I'm sure like all of us out here, we are looking for the underlying market, not just crypto, but obviously global markets to re-energize into the second quarter. I think that will do the world of good for everyone across the board. And I think everyone's on the same sort of playing field in that respect. And I do believe that will happen. Yeah,
I mean, you have to understand market cycles. The markets don't go down forever and they don't go up forever. So we've been in this downtrend now for a few months. It's been based around uncertainty and fear around these tariffs for the most part. But I do believe that uncertainty and fear gets resolved because the tariff policy is essentially being concluded now. Even today, we just got an announcement essentially that Trump is moving forward with the reciprocal tariffs, meaning, if a country has a 5% tariff against U.S., U.S. will impose a 5% tariff against that particular country. I don't know if there'll be much retaliation from that. We'll see if there's a, hopefully short-lived, if there's anything, it'd be short-lived kind of tariff war, tit for tat. Okay, no, we're going to increase or whatever. But eventually it resolves and it ends and it leaves the public consciousness. And at that point, the fear should be able to subside. And then we can look forward to the upcoming bullish catalysts, which I think are, the Federal Reserve having to cut the interest rates, move back into a quantitative easing kind of stance in order to help buoy the economy, which has been hurt by everything that's gone on. So I do think we're nearly out of the woods here. Let's see. I could be wrong. I mean, no one has a crystal ball, but it feels that way. So, hang in there. If you're a listener to the show, if you're a founder like Matthew, I'm even talking to myself, just hang in there. Things will get better at some point. And thank you so much, Matthew, for your time. Until next time, guys. See you guys on the beach.